On this episode of AV Week, patent lawsuits and how they could impact your integration business, managing audio and video across the network, and what your new AV employees need to know. All that and more. Next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 341, recorded Friday, March 9th, 2018. Managing your AV.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by HD Base T and by Peerless AV, the official outdoor display provider of Daytona International Speedway.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to talk about the news and information that we have gathered this week. First and foremost, not for nothing, but yesterday was International Women's Day, so we will start with the lovely Miss AV Dawn. How are you, madam?
Very good, thanks. How about yourself, Tim?
Doing good. Good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a couple months, so
I know.
Thank you for coming on.
Gladly.
Also with us, the most musically talented AV professional that I personally know. His name is Phil Cordell. How are you, sir?
Hey, great, man. Thanks for having me on.
And if you're not familiar, Phil has done our AV selfie for a number of years, selfie song. But before that, he did his own stuff and is fantastic, and you can check him out on YouTube. Plus his own company, he's actually does this stuff. All three of them do, including Mr. Ernie Beck. How are you, brother?
Hey, Tim. I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right. The first story here we're going to start with is I hesitate to talk about patent law because it's not very exciting, but it's important, right? This is a lawsuit a year in the making, but they've added to it now. Clear One last April filed suit against darn near every other manufacturer of a ceiling mic known to man, including Shure. This week, they added to that lawsuit. This comes to us from Commercial Integrator. The U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois recently granted Clear One's request to add a claim of infringement of their new patent, U.S. Patent 9813806, to its existing Clear One lawsuit against Shure specifically. Now, here's what this really quickly, because again, it's patent law and it's not that overly ambitious here. The 806 patent is actually on the beamforming microphone array and ceiling and or wall tile, which is a little squishy in my opinion. Shure countered and said, number one, the first lawsuit the first patent can't be enforced because it's too squishy in its legalese. And second, this is ridiculous because the specific product that Clear One is referencing is the Shure MX A910. So, two things here. The beam array microphone that Clear One is saying that all these people are infringing on are pedestal. It's two pedestals that come out of the ceiling, and then it's an array. It's about 2 or 3 feet long. The Shure MX A910 replaces a ceiling tile. So it's a slightly different, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, just telling you my opinion. But Clear One is saying that's infringing on their rights. Phil, what does this mean for dealers, regardless of which side this comes down for? When it comes to Monday morning or Tuesday morning, and the courts have decided, what does this mean for you guys as dealers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say that I'm not completely sure in that I haven't experienced this happening or this specific type of occurrence take place. I like the quote there, Clear One's request, quote, to prevent Shure from selling, or encouraging others to use the Shure MX-A910. You can prevent them from selling, but you cannot stop me from encouraging people to use that fantastic microphone. The MX-A910, for us was kind of a game changer, man. And we had seen the Clear One mic, and no offense to Clear One, but it reminded me of the Tandberg Audio Science mic. You've got this massive monstrosity hanging out of the ceiling, and people are afraid it's going to fall, whatever. So what does this mean from a dealer perspective? To me, I really hope that that the lawsuit is not successful so that we can continue to sell the superior product, which in my opinion is the Shure MXA910. We'll just kind of see what happens. I mean, the beamforming technology, when the first touch panel was created, were there lawsuits about, here, you've got a touch interface for control systems? We do too. We were the first ones, so we patented it. I don't know, because I see this beamforming technology taking off in a lot of areas, and I don't know ultimately if that will be a patentable, if that patent will stand up in a court of law, because it's just a technology. Can they patent that specific usage of that technology in that way? I know they think they already have, but I'm very interested to see what the courts say.
Ernie, same kind of question, and what Phil alluded to, it actually reminds me back to the old the Samsung Apple lawsuit with pinching to zoom in and zoom out.
Right.
So when it comes down to it, when you guys are looking to design products and talk to your customer about it, does this impact that in any way? Are you concerned about maybe in a year or 2 years, the Shure may be X amount more expensive than the Clear One if Clear One wins the lawsuit and Shure is forced to basically license technology they're already using?
No, I don't think it will. And quite frankly, I think it's sort of silly to think that those two were a similar product, in their form factor at all. There are a variety of table microphones that have a similar aesthetic. One's flush mounted, one's surface mounted, but there weren't lawsuits for that. And really the requests are coming from the end user and the architects that want to see something that's more integrated into the aesthetics of the room. So quite honestly, I've seen clients personally say they look at anything hanging below the ceiling grid and say, I don't care what it costs to replace that, get it out of the ceiling, it looks terrible. So I certainly hope that it's not a successful lawsuit. And again, to Phil's point, the audio industry has been, or audiovisual industry has been built on a choice in products and technologies. And I think it's worth a shot, but there are so many other products out there that are similar. And Sennheiser has a tile bridge or a tile microphone. Biamps now has a hanging beamforming microarray. I mean, are they just going to start trying to take on every single company? I think at the end of the day, it makes them look like they could be spending time and energy innovating further that product rather than banging their heads against the wall saying, well, so-and-so is stealing our intellectual property. My personal point is it's not going to affect my specking of it. Well,
and actually, this is actually where I want to take with Dawn. Not only is Dawn an incredibly talented marketing professional, but she also works for an end user now. Who does that say that to, though, Dawn? Does as an end user, you are an outlier. You're incredibly connected, right? So this stuff. But the typical technology manager or the Fortune 500 CIO who's trying to make decisions about their next swath of conference rooms, do they care who this is? Who's stealing whose technology?
To be honest, I don't think that they do. As you said, I am an end user now, and I work for a very large corporation. And I got to tell you, almost every room that I've been in that they've done since they came out here has the Shure MX901. I mean, like if they were to change that, we would have some serious problems going forward, because we've pretty much standardized that on that as our in-conference room microphone choice, because it is so effective and it's so good. I think an unconnected, non-industry type person or major corporation, they're going to look at a couple of things. They're going to look at, does it work? Does it work and look the way we want it to work and look? And how much does it cost? Now, if Clear One wins this and the price goes up hugely, that could see some blowback. But at the end of the day, the form factor of the Shure mic, the performance of the Shure mic, for reasons like that, they're still going to have their business. At least they're still going to have our business.
So let me ask the magic question so the integrators don't have to ask this of you. How much more? I mean, seriously, yes, it's going to come down to dollars and cents. But if you and others like you are so satisfied with that product, the Shure product, how much more, I guess, would you pay just to maintain that and just to be able to keep putting that into your systems?
So I've only been an end user since December, but I'm still learning what is too rich for someone. But if most corporations are like this one, it's very large. There are lots of different divisions and sectors and sections and departments, all of whom have their own budgets. What's too rich for one group's blood might not be too rich for another. But if it's become a corporate standard that is coming down from IT and AV on high within the company, they'll adjust or they'll save up and budget for it.
All right, that works right there. All right, guys, our next story comes to us from actually Mondo DR. And if you're not familiar with Mondo DR, it's an organization publication out of the UK. I met them at the AVWeek announcement, and the story I want to use from them is from about Dante, the Dante Domain Manager. If you're not familiar with this, I found out about this late last year, and they're starting to roll this out slowly. The Dante Domain Manager is this in a nutshell. If you have a Dante system, the current use case, the current workflow happens like this, especially in large venues. You have, let's take Gillette Stadium, for example. I don't know that Gillette Stadium has Dante. I'm just using them as an example. Gillette Stadium has a football game happen. Probably happens, 8, 12, 14 times a year, depending on how good the Patriots are that year. Fox Sports rolls up and plugs into their Dante system so they can get the audio out of the stadium. Currently, the audio person for Fox has access to every single audio input in that stadium. Every single one, and they can make adjustments to those audio signals, which seems kind of weird to me. What Dante Domain Manager allows the facility managers of Gillette Stadium, in this case, allows them to do is say, oh, no, Mr. Fox Sports or Miss Fox Sports, you have 2 channels. This is your 2 channels. This is all you have access to. Ernie, I want to start with you on this. Not just this system. And as AV gets more and more into IT and the more products become centric like this, are we going to see more systems and more software packages like this that allows the facilities managers and the AV managers and the IT managers the ability to constrain and kind of shepherd all these different, AV and IT products that right now are just kind of running wild, whether it's, video signals going multicasting to everywhere, or it's audio signals like Dante going everywhere. And this allows them to kind of shepherd them and say, oh, no, that building over there, you only get these audio channels, or you're only going to get these video streams.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's absolutely where the industry is moving. I think when we look at the context of AV over IP, it's not just about reducing copper. It's not just about consolidating infrastructure. It's also about the back-end management of it and providing tools that make IT managers and facilities managers a little more comfortable with the solution that they're going to get. And especially when you look at Dante's product here, where one of their first selling points is the security of the system. And as the technology progresses and you see these types of networked audio and network video protocols being used not only in the corporate space but also in the Department of Defense, where network separation and network security is paramount, it's going to be important that you can make the comms engineers satisfied that you have some sort of back-end management, or they have some sort of back-end management that helps them lock down, segregate, and provide security to the network. And if you look at something like some of these big data breaches that have happened in the past years with Home Depot and you name it company, Target, a lot of times, these hackers are getting in through a back-end building management system or some sort of node that's connected to the network that no one would think is a liability.
Yeah. Don, same kind of question though, but from the end user standpoint, what sort of things do you guys want and need to constrain, not only, as Ernie said, from a security standpoint, but also honestly from a use case standpoint, because conference room A may only need 1 or 2 things, but you don't want to give them the entire swath of, let's kind of pick and choose here.
Right. Well, that's really it. You need to be able to limit who's getting what access at any given time. And a product like this is fantastic. As Ernie said, particularly from a security standpoint. Back when I was an integrator, I spent a whole lot of time rolling my eyes or scratching my head at some of the seemingly silly demands that some end users came up with for products, or why can't they do this? This is an industry standard, or we use this all the time, that sort of thing. And now that I'm on the other side of the fence, I'm seeing a lot more of the working with IT, working on getting certificates for volatility of different products, proof, of what is and isn't retained in memory, proof of what does and does not touch the network. I mean, I thought I knew a lot about AV and about how we do things for corporations. And what I didn't know is way surpasses what I did know. And I've been in this industry a while. So it's a big learning curve. And I think the whole AV industry, to some extent, has that same learning curve. We've been doing this forever. We're the experts in our field. Oh, crap. We don't know what we're talking about with this network stuff. What do you mean we can't put it there? So I think a product like this, Dante Manager, is fantastic. I think as long as it works, and as long as the security department over here would vet it for use in these facilities, it could only be a win, I think. And similar products, if there are other similar products that come down the road, those are going to be in demand because security is more paramount than ever.
Yeah, actually, the security vetting of that product actually is another whole nother issue to tackle as well. Mr. Cordell, I want to come at this from a different angle with you, because we've talked about use cases and making sure that this conference room or this user has the right tools and has the right streams. How do you successfully get out of your clients an actual honest to goodness use case? And what I mean by that is, you and I have both, and Dawn and Ernie have as well, been in meetings. And when I was a tech manager, I would sit there with the faculty, and they would say, oh no, we do this and this and this. And I knew good and well that they haven't used a dot cam in 3 years, but they were like, oh no, we use a dot cam every single day. Da, da, da. How do you get out of the clients an actual honest to goodness use case, so then you can use tools like this successfully, rather than giving them a Cadillac when all they really need is an Escort?
Right. I think for us, it's about forming those relationships with people on the IT side to get that honest to goodness feedback about what they're really using. And something like this is awesome because you get metrics. You get to see exactly what's being used. We had Corey Boyer from Audinate come into the office and kind of pitch us on this a few months ago, and they're excited about it. As you guys, I'm sure Audinate licenses Dante to everybody under the sun, but they're the ones, I think, selling and pushing domain control. And it's could be a game changer if you're invested in Dante. So it's a win-win for them, and it's a bummer to think. I mean, exactly as was shared earlier, there are going to be people, beloved members of our AV industry, that are getting left behind right now because this stuff's moving so quickly. And it got handed off from the facilities guy to the IT guy, and we didn't even notice the handoff. And now we've got a new standoffish end user or customer that thinks that they know way more than we do, and they probably do in a lot of cases. If what we were trained up on was mixing boards and analog audio, they're going to understand bandwidth requirements and security permissions. In some cases better than your average. So it's an interesting time to be doing what we're doing. But I appreciate the fact that a tool like this is yet one more foothold into the conversation that we can have, because this should be our playground. We do audio, we do your audio. This is it.
Well, and actually that leads us into our final story here from my good friend Margot Dawahi. She writes on AV Network. It's the return of the polymath, quote unquote. And if you're not sure what the term polymath is, I will give you a quick definition: is a person of wide-ranging knowledge or learning. Margot writes, quote unquote, as AI and machine learning seep more deeply into our everyday tasks, it's our creative skills that will give us the edge. Dawn, I'm going to start with you on this, and I'm going to ask all three of you the exact same question. What all does the current AV professional need to know to be successful in their job?
That's a big question. Obviously, you need to know AV, both audio and video. We have lots of little A, big V professionals.
And
And a
control.
few really, yeah, and some very brilliant, big, big A, little V professionals. Control you need to know. You need to know basics of programming. You need to know IT at this point. I think that's clear. If you've missed that boat 10 years ago when we converged, you need to find a new job. But I think more important, you have to have a lot of soft skills. I attended a local tech council here in Maryland meeting a few months ago, and one of the topics they were talking about, they interviewed a room full of professionals in technology, not necessarily AV, and they asked them, when you're hiring, when you're looking for candidates, what sort of candidates do you want to bring into your company? And without a single dissenter, everybody said the same things. They want soft skills. They said, I can teach you AV or networking or programming or, industrial whatever, because that's what we do. We can teach you the basic skills. What you need are the soft skills, the people skills, the speaking skills, the ability to communicate, both written, orally, being able to act professionally. There are a host of skills that are beyond what we traditionally think of as what you need to be successful in AV, that I think if you really want to excel, you have to have a blend of all of them. And, that's one reason why I love being in this industry and telling people that my undergraduate degrees were English and dance. And then, I went back.
Okay, hang on. But what are your master's degrees in?
Well, I went back and I got a Master of Science in Technology Management, Information Systems, and an MBA. But I got into this field and made great inroads with an English degree and a dance degree. Now think about that. It's this whole idea of the polymath, having all of these different education expertises and thoughts and skills and learning, and then bringing it together for success in a different field. I was reading Margot's article and going, yes, preach, sister, because I felt it. So
all right,
I would give a less traditional answer than the guys will.
No, but here's the thing. I'm going to bring Phil in here because not only is Phil able to talk to this, but Phil hires people, right? Not for nothing, but he hires people. I don't know that he's currently hiring, so don't call him. But Mr. Cordell, what does the current AV professional need to know?
I am currently hiring.
Oh, well, there you go. Then call him.
Yeah, and I do have a jet going overhead right now. So that's kind of cool. To Don's point, I just had a guy start at the beginning of this week. This was his first week. Very little AV skills, but was the general manager of a local climbing gym. Had the leadership abilities, was well spoken. And I think for going deep, if you've got the skills to be successful at life, you'll be successful in the AV industry. If you've got hard work ethic, and a willingness to learn new things, then we can teach you the myriad of things that Don rattled off on the front end. And the cool part is, you can find your niche. You don't necessarily have to be an expert in all those areas. I've got a guy that just does DSPs, and I've got guys that do control systems and DSPs, and there's room for all of them, and then we do have, are fortunate enough to have some very well-rounded people that are, experts in many fields, but those folks are harder to come by, Yeah. I do love her. I love the article. I love that idea that there's a lot of skills that go into making a successful person, particularly in the AV industry. I would say probably multisyllabic rhyme schemes are way up there, very underrated. But that's something that people need to maybe get more informed on.
That would be Mr. Cordell's absolute skill set there. Absolutely. So, all right, Ernie, you'll have the last word on this. What do we all need to know?
Well, I think what anyone coming into the industry needs to know is they need to know what they want, and they need to be clear on that. I think there are so many positions available in not only in the AV industry but other tangential technology fields that I think you really need to know what you're looking for and what you want. And really, when you kind of find that niche, and it takes time. I'm still working on what I want. I've been in the industry almost 10 years, and I'm still figuring that out. But To her point about kind of the cross-pollination of what your passions are, let your passions reinforce your position. If you are in the AV industry and you're feeling kind of in a rut or stuck, maybe you're warehousing some of your potential. And really what you need to do is look for a move that can, your passions in maybe public speaking, or your passions in being detail oriented. Maybe that may help you excel at a different position. So I think that to Phil and Dawn's points, I mean, really there are a few things that can replace passion, character, teamwork. But one thing that I wanted to make note of in there that Margaret talked about was the rise of AI and this kind of existential fear that, all of our jobs are going to be replaced with machine learning and robots, and we're just going to be left sitting around. I think what really it does is it opens the door for us to pursue more fulfilling and creative tasks. And the thing I love about AV, which is different than any of the other technical fields out there, is that we are the most creative, in my opinion. There's a lot of, when it comes to IT networks, infrastructure, all that kind of stuff, AV, you really can't strip away the need to hear and see and experience. And I like the way Avixa is going too, and taking that experiential perspective of the AV industry and reinforcing that, and trying to hopefully draw more creative individuals into our field.
Yeah, absolutely. Ernie, that may have been the deepest that we've ever gotten on this show. So I do.
I'm a deep guy.
No, I appreciate it, dude. It's awesome. So, all right, that will do it for this week. Ms. Dawn Mead, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It was a pleasure, as always.
How can people get a hold of you if they are so interested?
Well, you can always find me on Twitter and online at AVDawn. I recently changed jobs, as we've said, and I now work for a leading defense and aerospace corporation here in the Metro DC area. And so I won't be sharing my email address or anything like that, but you can probably guess. And in the meantime, at AVDawn or here at AVNation, you can always, in a pinch, ask Tim.
And not the government. I want to make that clear. Not the government. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes, I am still private sector, just answering to them.
All right. We all answer to them. Ernie Beck, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Tim, and thanks, Phil and Dawn. Everyone can find me at Ernie_Beck on Twitter. You can also check out my website for my nonprofit, integratebaltimore.org, or you can catch me at my day job, Sonero.com.
All right, very good. And Mr. Cordell, last but certainly not least, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
And if somebody wants to take one of those jobs that you're hiring for, how do they do that?
Well, you can find that at M3, the letter M, the number 3, techgroup.com. Check us out at careers. You can find my stuff on YouTube, /high fidelity, HIPHIDELITY. And find me on Twitter at _AV_pro.
All right, very good. Don't follow me on the Twitters at this point. I'm bemoaning the fact that the Blues are probably not going to go anywhere near the Stanley Cup. But go by the website if you would, please. AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others. While you're there, check out our underwriter section if you would, please. These are the folks that help us financially and help us bring you this program. And a host of others also helps us do stuff like go to Integrated Systems Europe, which you can find all of our videos from there, and Digital Signage Expo coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. We'll be coming to you from Vegas, and Infocom in less than 100 days. That's right. Infocom is less than 100 days, kids. So get yourself signed up and get your plane tickets to that. So all that and more at avnation.tv, avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for AV Week.